What's the first question?
Thanks. Do you have an announcement for us? Or,
It's sunny in Seattle. No. There's nothing impending. There's a lot of expectation now that we're actually getting to our first time in the season having a full roster and selection. So no announcements yet, but the window's open for a little while, so who knows?
you're always good for that. So I'll start with the question. Where are the Sounders right now, just in terms of your flexibility, able to make a move, given what's happening on the other side of the coast?
I think you're kind of asking, do we have money to go out and do something?
Kind of, sort of.
Everyone's nodding, so that's the
Yes.
kind of sort of question.
Yes.
Look, we committed, and I kind of went over this in January. We committed at the beginning of the year, adding a significant reserve striker and spending money at the beginning of the year to give this group a chance to stick together and perform well. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the entire group together for the majority of the year. I think we had 20 minutes in the 5th game of the year, something like that. So we're trending back to healthy. I'm excited to see where this group goes, because now that Jordan and Christian are back, the coaches are going to have a really nice challenge on how they balance minutes and the selection on the lineups, and I think it'll allow you guys to ask a lot more fun questions post-match to Brian. In terms of adding players, look, where we're at, in order to add, I'm only interested in adding if it makes us significantly better, because I really like this roster. And I really think with this roster getting healthy, 3 points out of first place at this point of the season with 11 games left, we've got a really good chance to do something special down the stretch here. And this group believes it. It's pretty evident when you spend some time around them that they understand that they've got the potential to do something. So if we can make the team exponentially better, we'll do it. In order to do that, it is going to be a challenge, without a doubt.
So significantly, exponentially better. Let's dive into those words right there. Does that mean
Starting player that is better than the players and options we have is what we're looking at. Because when you look at this roster and you analyze the roster when healthy, which we're trending towards, at any given time there'll be 3 or 4 players not selected to start that would start on almost every team in our league.
So with everything you just said in mind, is it safe to say that you are in no rush to move a player in your current roster to make room for another one because you feel like there's a specific or huge need in this roster?
It's a great question on timing, because you could trap me right now because we haven't been scoring goals for fun recently. I'll reference back to the first 5 games of the year, where minus the LAFC game, we were pretty dangerous to goal consistently, and I think that's where our team is trending and going towards. I don't think there's a desperate need right now in the Sounders other than to get everyone back, to get healthy, and to really let this group mesh. Like I said, it's my role in this organization. One of my main roles is to put a roster together that challenges our coaches on a weekly basis to make tough decisions. As we trend towards health, I think that's what the coaches are going to find, is they're going to have some really nice, difficult choices to make. And so I don't feel a distinct need right now. But look, we saw a relatively significant trade made in our league yesterday between New England and Toronto. And I'm not saying it won't happen, mainly because we've got a lot of good players. So I will say that in terms of winning trades and winning deals, that's not what I'm all about. But with our current roster, I think we'd have to come out pretty far ahead in order to consider it.
He was one of the players that you obviously, had the transfer with Colorado, and we're going to reevaluate at this point.
Yep.
Is he going to stay there, or what's the decision?
It's a two-way deal. So I've got pretty open dialogue with Porig. We speak weekly about Danny, and so it's open. Right now, we've agreed that they've got till the end of the window to make their decision. We've got till the end of the window to make our decision, and he's in a good place right now in terms of how he's been doing there and performing. And we'll see over the next 2 weeks what moves they make in the summer window as well. But he's done exactly what we hoped, which is he's played a lot more minutes there than he would have played here. And so we'll make sure we do what's right in terms of him playing soccer.
I mean, it seems like you guys are still in the same position as far as logjam in the midfield anyway. So it might be beneficial just to keep him there, you think?
I think that's the reason we loaned him to begin with. So if there's minutes to be played, there's no doubt that that's the right situation. But we'll see. They have a summer window open too, so they might add a few guys, and that could change Danny's situation, which we would immediately try and rectify.
Craig, it sounds like the goal scoring, you answered it. It sounds like it's just as simple as getting these guys back and doing it.
It's that simple.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
I'm curious, though. You guys are so deep.
Yeah.
So deep. So, I mean, Defiance and the whole thing. Why not take some of these players, and if they call, people are going to call you. Why not take some of these players and get somebody that can just add to the group? I'm thinking in the terms of the Mariners, getting a big bat, that kind of thing. I mean, why not get
There's no question that, again, if we can improve upon what we have, we'll do it. I mean, it's not rocket science, but to get better than what we have in a trade, we may trade if we trade a player in one position and we get better in another position, we've weakened ourselves in one position. So the balance of the roster right now, we have options up front, we have options in the midfield, we have options in the back line. And so I don't want to unbalance the team in terms of you make a trade to get better or get more depth in one of those other lines, weaken yourself, catch one injury, and now you're in a bit of hot water in terms of the solution. So we're definitely having conversations. This is not me saying I'm not answering the phone. I'm on a lot of phone calls, but I'm really picky right now because I'm bullish about where we are. I'm bullish about this team, and I think 2023 can end with the same elite result that several other years have ended with for this organization. As a matter of fact, no other team in the league has won more trophies and won more games since the MLS era of Sounders, and I think this group is absolutely has the potential to continue that trend.
Craig, with kind of how happy you are with Danny, is there a chance that you look at other young players doing a similar move?
Yeah, young players are an interesting, developing players because age is a little bit of a tricky thing now. What is young? Young is different now than it was 4 or 5 years ago, but developing players need to play. And so we're always trying to find the right solution if we can't provide or if we don't anticipate those games coming. So we've had a few conversations with some international clubs about a couple of our young players. But again, unless it's a better situation, meaning game time is nearly guaranteed, which it's never guaranteed and no coach in the world will tell you it's guaranteed. But if it's a group that definitely needs a player that we have and we feel that their opportunity for minutes is there, we'll consider everything because we've got a lot of young talented players and it's really hard to get them all minutes. Interestingly, we've played every single field player this year, and small tangent, but I need to stop and compliment our staff and our group because I'm not sure any other MLS team has played every single field player. There's only 2 players on our roster that haven't appeared in an MLS match, and that would be our Andrew Thomas and Jacob Castro. But every field player, including Steph, have been on the field, and we've done it with a massive amount of injuries. We've done it with call-ups. We've done it with some unexpected things. I'd be remiss not to take just a second to compliment the players and the staff for where they are. Again, 3 points out of first place with 11 left. It's a heck of an achievement so far, and since I'm on camera, I'll just make sure to, on the back end of the compliment, is the expectation is to be a lot better than we've been.
Speaking of Steph, you've seen some good performance out of Cleveland, especially last week against Vancouver. How do you evaluate both of them looking forward 2024 and beyond, considering their contracts, considering where they want to go with their futures?
I knew 2024 would come up at some point.
Yep.
There's a lot of decisions to make at the end of this year.
But specifically with the Stephs.
4 or 5 different decisions that are all difficult. With the Stephs, it's not a one or the other. It might be both, but there's a lot of conversations. They're both wonderful humans, and a lot of it comes down to the roles they want to play. And Steph Cleveland tested the market last year to find a starting spot, and frankly, if Steph Fry is going to continue to be the starting goalie for the Sounders, then we have to be fair to Steph Cleveland and the work he's done and make sure that he has the options like he did the year before to go test the market, but also make sure we maintain and we will maintain that we like him, we want him here.
Have you had conversations with Fry of where he wants to go from this point on?
No, in my world, it's not really wonderful to distract your players in the middle of the season. Some of these conversations need to wait to the end of the year. Some of them are with agents and not necessarily directly with the players, but you know, I am the type of person that I've got no problem sitting down with a player. I've got a good rapport with all the guys, and they can come in my office. I always warn, if you come in my office, I only go one direction, and that is my truth. And I have a lot of tough decisions to make, so don't come in my office unless you want my truth. But this is a great group of people, and those conversations will happen, and they're pretty straightforward and honest.
But the distraction is always there, right? I mean,
always for the player,
right?
For the club.
So that uncertainty can be hard for a player. So, where in the priority list does it fit for you to talk to a player that has an expiring contract coming up?
It's always a balance. Every player is different. The club has the same decision to make, so it's always on the minds of the general manager. It's always on the mind of the player. I've been in their shoes. I've represented myself as a player, so there's a lot of conversations, there's a lot of things going through players' heads. Look, sometimes the balance is the players need the information. It's their personality. Sometimes the balance is it's better to wait. It's really individualized. You know, we've got, like I said, 4 or 5 guys that are in that situation. And so we'll be handling every single one of them differently. I can't give you one answer. I wish I could, because that would make my job way easier and their job way easier. But, you know, we're in the middle of some conversations with agents. Some players don't want to have the conversation. Some players do want to engage. So we kind of respect it as we go. But in terms of where we're at, honestly, those decisions aren't made. And while I tout the fact that we're in 3rd place, 3 points out of 1st with 11 left, I need to see where this goes. There's still a lot to prove or not prove.
Yeah, Craig.
And that makes the next decisions for me pretty clear.
So I was going to jump right in that point, just in terms of how do you evaluate, just in terms of where the club finishes or how the club finishes, given what you just said about trophies and things like that.
So I do want to avoid resulting
right
and getting to the end of the year and going, oh, because of X it made sense or it didn't make sense. There's fun narratives to talk about, but the result doesn't change the preparation. You know, we didn't lose in San Jose because of poor preparation. They scored a heck of a goal. You know, we had a penalty call. You know, the result doesn't really dictate how we prepped and how that everything happened. So a little bit's going to depend on its continuity. It's how do these guys get on. It's the balance. You know, players have an opinion too. And when you have a roster like ours that I believe is really deep, you're going to have 3, 4, 5 players that might not really be happy with the role they're asked to have. And that's got to be taken into consideration as well. So results are part of it. Results are a big part of it for me. That's what our fans react to.
Right.
But also the personal side of it. You know, we don't want to force a guy to be here and be unhappy, right? So we'll take all those things into consideration. And that's why I say that this time of year is a difficult time to have those conversations, because, you know, one injury can change the lineup, and all of a sudden a player like Leo Chu, because of national team call-ups, takes another step in his maturation process on the field for us. And we have to evaluate him differently.
Has your training staff learned more about concussions this season than any other?
I think we're constantly learning about it and the dangers of it. And I will say one thing I'm really proud of is we have not taken a long time to transition into how serious we treat it and take it. I think we're at times more precautionary than the players now, which is a huge shift in sport. And I think the Sounders have been open-minded about it. Our medical staff has been really good about reminding the rest of us that they're the ones who dictate the timelines, and they've been treating it appropriately and conservatively. So it's been highly educational, especially when it's not head-to-head like right. Christian's was a non-contact, well, I guess ground contact situation. So it you know, we've learned a lot. And some of them are Some of them, they're all scary, but some of them confuse us more than others.
And obviously the CT studies are coming up now. Jimmy Gray, that's a whole other.
It's a huge topic, and I know Taylor would be really happy about this conversation coming to the forefront, and justifiably, because he's been really speaking about this for a long time, and I think his voice has helped push these conversations along. But we as a not only just as a club or a sport, but across sport, are starting to commit more to the protection of the athlete themselves and the longevity of their well-being.
Leo Chu is